I worked for Apple for several years, including time in an Apple store, and I had customers ask me dozens of daily questions about how to use their devices. I even taught classes. Online banking came up a lot, and over time, I learned a few suggestions that seemed to help and that I would like to share. Even though I will start with my grandfather, this isn't about seniors. I saw firsthand how every generation struggled with this subject. My grandfather did his banking in the old-fashioned way. The only time he went to the bank was to cash his paycheck. He then stuffed all the cash under his mattress. If bills needed to be paid, he went to the business and handed them the money. When he bought things, including cars, he paid cash. If he didn't have the money, he didn't buy it. He did make one concession, and that's when he needed to pay the government. Since he didn't have a checkbook, he would go to Western Union for a money order. My parents did have a checkbook and a bank account, but their way of paying bills wasn't much different. Since they had a bank account, there was no money to hide, but they still wanted to pay everyone in cash. I have memories of going to the bank with my mom, where she would write a check made out to cash. There were no ATMs then. It's quite different today. I can't remember the last time I had physical bills in my wallet. Everyone takes cards or an app. Even the Girl Scouts peddling cookies in front of the market. The only time I use cash is on rare occasions when I buy lottery tickets. The lottery people aren't dumb. They don't take cards. Instead, I get cash back when I pay for my groceries. Then, the dollars go straight to the lottery machine at the front of the store. We also pay our bills online. Everybody has a payment portal designed to take your money easily. Link your bank and pay them in seconds. I know people still feel the way my grandfather did. They don't trust banks, and more importantly, they don't trust digital banking. They hear the stories of hacks, scams, and identity thefts and want no part of them. And the proliferation of online-only banks doesn't help the situation. Some believe checks and cash are still better ways to pay for things. It's too bad they're wrong, as things changed a lot. If you're still using checks, there are issues. Very few places take them anymore. Banks are even discouraging merchants from taking checks because it costs more to process them. Banks have been hiking the check fees to get merchants to accept cards. Checks are not as safe as you may think they are. Your checks give a hacker all the information they need to drain your account. The check shows your account number, bank routing number, and name and address. Even if your address isn't on it, it's effortless to find it online. Stealing your checkbook makes things even easier. Mobile banking apps now allow you to deposit a check by taking a picture of the front and back. It doesn't matter if they don't get your signature right. A thief only needs to put the money into another account long enough to withdraw it. I wondered if I could get away with only using cash like my grandfather, but the problems were worse than checks. We all knew where my grandfather hid his money, and it wouldn't have been hard to sneak out a few bills, praying he didn't know exactly how much money he had. He did claim he moved his cash occasionally, but no one believed him. This meant someone breaking into his house could wipe him out quickly. It also meant he often carried large amounts of money in his pockets, and he didn't live in a good neighborhood. You could try to find a better place to hide it. But here's the thing, the crooks are onto you. Putting bills between the pages of books is amateur hour. So is hiding it in your toilet tank or freezer. Pot smokers might be able to help you. They're pioneers in using fake, empty cans, jars, and other household items to put their stash. Please don't get mad at me for revealing secrets. This is Thieving 101. Now, let's talk about digital banking. It might help if I point out the advantages. Convenience is a big deal with going digital. For example, you don't need to go to a branch anymore, including to use ATMs. Depositing a check or transferring money anywhere you are is handy. Apps like Venmo, PayPal, and Zelle also make paying someone easy. I know I mentioned how thieves could use these to rob you, but there are safeguards, I will tell you, that can help. You can schedule your bills. Pay all of them in one day by scheduling them for when they're due, and forget about it. Autopay is also helpful. No more trying to remember if you've paid something. Many people use direct deposit for their paychecks, but did you know you can split your pay into different accounts automatically? Digital banking lets your financial institution notify you if something's wrong or suspicious, and it's quick and easy to check your balance and see what payments have cleared. I learned there are two main reasons people shy away from going digital: security and complexity. As I mentioned before, this is not about seniors struggling with tech. Your kids are not any better at remembering their passwords or wanting to use two-factor authentication. I've written about how young people don't have an advantage just because they're growing up surrounded by technology. They're merely consumers, just like you. Your identity is typically stolen because of a mistake you made. You might think you're too tech-savvy and would never fall for a scam, but the ways to steal your money are getting more sophisticated. I have a friend who's a VP at a huge global company, and I recently helped him untangle a scam where he lost $6,000. His problem? A weak password. He's not alone. Security software maker Norton says more than 80% of confirmed breaches were caused by weak passwords. Norton also says that 60% of people strengthen their passwords after a breach instead of making them strong to begin with. Another thing I did at the Apple Store was help customers set up their iPhones. Even though I suggested it was unwise, many people chose to use 4 numbers to unlock their phones instead of 6, and would use either 1234 or 1111 as their passcode. Their phone would then ask them if it's a passcode they really want, telling them it's easy to guess. Everyone still hit yes? Do you reuse passwords on multiple sites? Norton says breaches occur because people do this. This statistic stands out because 91% of us know that reusing passwords is a security risk. Using your pet's name or birthday as your password is also a bad idea. Again, too easy for the crooks. There are many things you need to remember in your life, and you may recall them easily. So why is remembering a single password so hard? You may be saying, wait a minute, I have dozens, maybe even hundreds, of passwords. This is where a password manager like 1Password or LastPass comes in. You create a complex password for each site, and then the app keeps track of them for you. You only need to remember a single password to unlock the app. This is far better than putting your passwords in a book for someone to find, or scribbling notes on random pieces of paper full of crossouts of previous passwords. Even without a password manager, your devices may ask if you want it to save a password. This is okay because your login is strong, and you're using two-factor authentication, right? I will cover the practical ways to protect your digital assets at the end. Now, let's discuss complexity. I already covered passwords, the most difficult part of a digital life. The other challenging part is learning how to use everything. You unlock your phone, and there are buttons everywhere, confusing you. This happens because you may believe you have to know what every one of them does. The truth is, you don't. Here's an example. The odds are good. You have remote controls lying around. Pick one up, look at it, and ask yourself if you know how to use every button. I bet you don't, and that's the point. You know, just enough to be able to watch your favorite shows. Apps and devices are like that. You only need to learn enough to accomplish the things that are important to you. No matter your age, you're always learning how to do new things. So why is learning apps on your phone any different? Conclusions? There are many ways to protect yourself. Change your passwords every couple of months. Turn on two-factor authentication. This is where a code is sent to one of your other devices for confirmation. I know. It's a pain in the butt to need your devices near each other to sign in, but isn't your money worth it? Set up email, text, and push notifications to notify you if there is activity on your accounts. Never give your banking information to anyone on the phone. No one needs that information. If someone asks to confirm a card number, ask them to read to you what they have on file to see if it matches. Never pay a bill or a debt with a gift card. For example, why would the IRS want you to pay with a gift card? Sadly, I have a friend who fell for this. At the Apple Store, we were trained to ask people how their gift cards would be used to help people who were being scammed. Never do banking or buy anything when using public Wi-Fi, including at airports, coffee shops, libraries, and hotels. Never click a link or call a number for your bank from an email or text. The bottom line, no pun intended, is that there are positives and negatives no matter how you decide to handle your money. There are certainly ways to combine these methods. The trick is not to dismiss any one way without knowing how it works. I'm shooting for an informed decision.